cloud button. Thank you all so much for being here. Oh, there's another person. My name is Marina. I'm the studio manager and director of admissions. It says temporary or interim director of admissions on my signature on my email, but that's not true anymore. I'm now the full-time director of admissions. So very excited to be here with you all. I've met some of you. Some of you are new. I'm really happy to be meeting all of you folks. So here's what's going to happen today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the intensive, ask some questions to our guests who are here, or not to our guests, you guys aren't going to get questioned, to our studio folks. And then we're going to do some repetition work, and then that's going to be with two of our students who are Celestine students. And then if anyone is feeling brave and wants to try doing the repetition, we're going to open it up to that as well, to having two folks give that a go. And then we'll take some questions, what we noticed from the repetition, and end with a little special promo just for you guys, because you got on Zoom today and joined us. So that is the run of show. I'm just going to start by chatting with you a little bit about what the intensive is for those who don't know. It is the Meisner work. You're going to be doing the first 6 weeks, which is the first 18 classes of the Meisner progression, which is, I think it's 162. Is that right, Celestine? 162 classes? Great, yes. It took me a while to get that number down. I'm not good with numbers. So it's really going to give you a foundation for the Meisner work, starting with repetition and ending with some scenes. But during this time, you are primarily going to be playing yourself in imaginary circumstances, because Meisner says acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. But to be able to do that really well as different characters, you first need to know how to do it just as yourself. So it's going to be a really great opportunity to ground yourself in your acting and build a technique for yourself. And if it's something you really love and you really enjoy, there's more Meisner work that can be done. Beyond the acting, we have voice, movement, clown, Alexander technique, neutral mask, Chekhov, and emotional processing for actors. So there's a lot of options. If you are curious about any of those other things, please talk to me. I'd love to chat with you. Today, we're really focusing on just what happens in acting. And we are featuring our amazing master teacher, Celestine Ray, who is going to be kind of talking to us a little bit about what happens in this class, and also walking us through an exercise. So to start us off, I would love to have my friends who are here introduce themselves and share a little bit about their connection with TKS, starting with Celestine.
Hi everybody, I'm Celestine Ray. I want to apologize in advance. There's some construction happening, so if you hear some faint noise in the background, that's what's happening. But I'm really happy to be here, happy to speak with all of you. I have been teaching at the studio since the pandemic, but I have a history of being a teaching artist. I studied with Terry as an actor. Before he had his studio, I was one of his students. And then I followed him over to his studio and I studied with him, took a lot of his master classes, and then decided I wanted to train under him to teach this work. I shadowed him for 2.5, 3 years to be able to teach this work, sat in on many, many, many classes. I was really lucky because though it was the pandemic, which was very unfortunate, I had more time to sit and watch him teach. So I'd be watching him from 9 a.m. to about 9 p.m., 10 p.m. every night during the pandemic. I was so grateful that I had something to put my attention on, and I've learned so much from Terry. I owe a lot to Terry. He is a master, and I am just really grateful to be in the Meisner lineage of teachers who have trained with a Meisner teacher, and now I'm able to teach it as well. So that's who I am. Hi.
Amazing, thank you, Celestine. Yes, I didn't even mention that Terry and Celestine come from the Meisner lineage, so direct descendants of Meisner, which is it's just pretty cool. I don't think there's a lot of studios that can say that, and both Terry and Celestine, not only, because I think a lot of people, they took class with Esper, they took class with a Meisner descendant, but they also trained to teach the work, which is a little bit different. So thank you, Celestine, for sharing that. I'd love to now pass it on to our students who are going to be modeling some work today. Let's start off with Quentin.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. My name is Quentin, Quentin Chisholm. I took the intensive with Celestine in the fall of 2023, I believe. Yeah, I think that that's right. And now I'm just about to finish the 2-year program in like 3 weeks, which is crazy. It's coming to an end, all of the work, but it's been an amazing progression. I feel so lucky that I've been able to work here at the studio and learn so much, and then also work with Celestine, who has just been the most amazing mentor and teacher. I feel very grateful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Quentin. And I'm going to pass it to Kakra. She already
Okay.
knew.
Hi, guys. My name is Kakra, and I am a recent graduate from the 2-year program. So I graduated 2024, last year, almost around this time. And I've studied under Celestine for that time. And honestly, working with her has been one of the best choices I've made in a long time, especially for my career as an actor, my passion, and for the craft. And honestly, I still contact her to this day, and we actually just finished working together this past weekend on a reading, which was amazing, an amazing experience. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Kakra. And I know you're in a conference room, Kakra. I know when you do the repetition, I don't know if this matters, but you may need to figure out a way so we can like see your eyes. I don't know, Celestine. Maybe
Want
message
me
if
to?
that's an issue.
I
We'll figure
could
it
get
out.
closer. I don't know
I
if
think
you,
it's just where you're looking, but we'll figure it out. No stress.
oh, I
But
will look right. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out. I'm gonna pass it to Eli now.
Hello, everyone. My name's Eli Oaks. I am at the end of my first year. Right now, I'm taking classes with Terry, but I'm a part of the 2-year program. And I did the summer intensive, which is almost a year ago, which is so crazy. But with Megan, who's not on this call, but absolutely has had an incredible impact on me and made me want to join the 2-year conservatory program. I haven't been lucky enough to work with Celestine, but I've heard so many amazing things. It is a treat to be sharing the screen with you. Hopefully, we'll meet soon. But yeah, that's a bit of me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Eli. And I wanted Eli here because she did the summer intensive this past summer and also worked with Megan, who's another one of our awesome teachers. So just to get some other perspectives as well. Great. So I'm just going to ask some. Oh, wait, sorry, Angeline. Angeline, how can I forget you? Can you please give us a little intro as well? You're outside. I'm jealous.
I am today. My name's Angela and I'm the marketing manager here at TKS. And just thank you all so much for showing up and learning a little bit more about us. It's a special place, so we're glad you're here.
Great. Thank you, Angeline. She makes all of this happen. We're very grateful for her. All right, great. I'm going to ask some questions now, and this is for y'all to learn a bit more about the program, and then there will be some time later to ask questions if you guys have them as well. So to start off, Celestine, I would love for you to share what students can expect from the summer intensive and how this training can help actors build both their craft and their confidence.
Yeah, as Marina, as you were saying, that this is the first 18 classes of the Meisner work, so it's really a foundational approach to acting. A lot of acting studios, you go and take class, and the first thing they do is they hand you a scene. And the Meisner approach is very different. It approaches it from the perspective of needing to learn the basics. It's as if you were building a house. You would need to lay a strong foundation in order to know where to go. In any other artistic discipline, you never start off with performing the largest portion of the work. For example, I have a dance background, so my first day of ballet class, I was not doing Swan Lake, right? I was not busting it out because I needed to learn the foundations. I needed to learn pliés and tendus and relevés. Someone's first piano lesson, they're not playing a Bach concerto, right? They're learning scales. And so Meisner himself was actually a classical pianist. And so he developed this technique and thought about what could be the equivalent of scales for an actor. So, how could an actor learn to practice some foundational skills in order to be able to know how to do a scene and then a full play, right? And so the first 18 classes really focuses on that. We work on the repetition work all the way up until the first scene. And so every single class, you are building on the last class and learning a new skill and applying it so that you can get to scene work. And it's really coming from this idea that acting is not just words, that acting is behavior, and that we really want to be able to assess for ourselves, like, what am I picking up on in my partner? Really putting your attention on the other person. A lot of people think acting is just what they're doing, but acting is in response, right? In response to another human being, which then creates a connection. And so we always say that every moment has a meaning. Meisner said every moment has a meaning. And so we really start to learn how to understand what the meanings of the moments are for ourselves. How do I interpret this moment? How does this moment land inside of me? What's my point of view about this moment? And so we work what we call the seed of an exercise. We do a lot of exercises and it's very improvisationally based until we get to the scene work, the very, very first scene. And so it's really a discovery into the self. What makes me tick? What makes me come to life? What hurts my feelings? What makes me angry? What makes me excited? What kind of makes me feel a little shy? And so we go into this self-exploration in response to our partners in order to be able to develop an emotional intelligence and an emotional awareness and an emotional attunement. And so that's really what we're working on in the first 18 classes in terms of the summer intensive. I tell people if you've been acting for a long time, the summer intensive is really useful because, like I said, I have a dance background. A lot of times it didn't matter how strong I became as a dancer, I would go back and take a beginner ballet class because working on the fundamentals, the foundational skills is so useful. So that's what you can expect. And for me, if I'm able to be in touch with how I feel about something, if I'm able to pick up on the behavior of my partner, of my scene partner, that's going to make me more confident because now I'm attuned. Now I know what's going on between the two of us. I'm not working from my head, right? We're really trying to cultivate an impulsivity, right? Allowing ourselves to let the impulsive side of ourselves free, which we're socialized out of having. Most of the time, in the way that we exist in the world, we are socialized not to be impulsive. So the Meisner work is inviting you to be able to let the child in you and the animal in you come to life in order to be able to play the fullness of your truth. You're the full human side of yourself, not the socialized part of you. So we get to turn the brain off a little bit and get into the heart and the gut.
I love that. That was a perfect answer, Celestine. Thank you so much for sharing that. Beautiful. And I was going to ask you, what if you're a more advanced actor? And you answered that question. I think this program really is for everybody. And the cool thing about Meisner, which I really love, I'm a director also, just so people know, and something, when I have actors who are really having trouble being present, I always recommend Meisner training. The cool thing is everybody starts at the exact same place. Like even if you've been acting your entire life, and you've done film and television for years, you would start at the same place with someone who's never acted before. And it's because everybody has impulses and instincts and everybody has an imagination, and you're using these tools that you already have in your own person to improve your acting and to make you more confident in your acting. So I loved what you shared. Thank you so much, Celestine. I'm going to ask now Kakra and Quentin, can you talk to me a little bit about your experience of working with Celestine? We have some people here who are interested in maybe taking your class. I'd love for you to share kind of what the impact she had on your work was and how did she help you grow as an actor. So either of you are welcome to begin. I'm going to spotlight both of you. Oh, where's Kakra? There you are. Add spotlight. All right, there you go.
Do you want to answer first, Kakra, or do you want me
to? Sure. Except unmute yourself now. Thanks, Marina. Sure, I'll definitely speak to that. Celestine brings up a lot of good points in terms of just always wanting to go back to the basics. I remember upon joining the 2-year program, I actually had a conversation with Terry, and one of the things I remember hearing from Terry or I remember asking Terry or telling him, I said, there's something about the work. I'm doing the work, I'm in the scene, I'm on set, but there's something that's just not connecting. I don't know what it is. There's something in me that wants to burst, or something's happening and I don't know how to access it. So I remember having that constant feeling before the program and before starting, especially the first year work. And even now, there are times where, like, Celestine, how many times have I jumped into an intensive class? No matter what part of the program I was in, no matter what part of the program that I was starting to do, I always visited an intensive class because I needed to be reminded of certain things that were personal to me, or how to connect to myself in order to connect with character work. And how this has constantly been making an impact on me in every project I go on or every project I audition for. Quick little fun fact, there was a recent premiere that I had that Quentin attended, and I actually ended up even going for the audition because I was able to have an understanding of the character through myself, or have like an empathy pathway, because I think it was like right after sitting in on an intensive class that I said, oh, I can relate to this character in this way because of this impulsivity I have for this particular circumstance. And that's something that I only would have understood from taking, like, going into an intensive and understanding, oh, this is what's happening. This is what's happening inside me. This is how I can free it. And it was always about the impulsivity. I do have a always kind of go to my brain. How do I figure things out? When for me as an actor, it was always about allowing my body to do the work and trusting in my instinct. And the incentive was such a big pathway to that. And it impacts me even now. So,
Chakra.
yeah.
Sounds like it was very impactful. I'd love to hear that. Quentin, tell me a little more about how your experience has been working with Celestine. I know you're almost at the end of the 2 years, which is crazy. And
It's
you
so
started with
great.
her at the beginning in that intensive. So I'd love to hear kind of what that's been for you, and how it's helped your growth as an actor.
Yeah, totally. I think one of the most amazing things about working with Celestine, and I felt this so much in the intensive, which is kind of remarkable because it's 18 classes, and I've done a lot of sort of intensive programs in New York City, and I have found prior to working with Celestine that a lot of the time I felt like it was somewhat transactional, like it was kind of this yeah, like you were there for the whatever 6 weeks that it is, and then you're off on your way. And I felt like with this intensive, in that I did the fall intensive, and I think that something that is so special about working with Celestine is she invests in you, not only as an actor but also as a human. I think that that's really rare to find, and that was so impactful for me, and I'm so grateful for that. And it led to me then wanting to take the 2 year program. But I think really something about the Meisner work, and then also Celestine's particular way of teaching it, really allowed me to feel safe in exploring so much of myself and being open to my impulses that I think requires the creation of a certain atmosphere, in order to feel like you can really embrace your impulses and take risks and be open. And I think having that experience in the intensive was so remarkable because it was this new experience and new space that I didn't expect to feel the amount of freedom that I did. And it was so impactful for not only me as an actor, but me as a person as well. Like I think it's so funny, what we have talked about a lot in class is how sometimes after doing the like repetition work, and the work that you do in the intensive, you go out into the world with a kind of renewed sense of not only like impulsiveness and spontaneity, but an ability to read people and to kind of, I think, be able to listen to people better and to be a better friend and human. And that has been such a gift for me. It has changed my life. And yeah, it has definitely changed the way that I approach acting in terms of really valuing what the other person is saying and listening not only with my ears but with my heart and my gut. And that's a yeah, I'm so grateful for the experience that I had in the intensive, and then since then in the 2 year as well.
Yes, I'm so sorry to just piggyback off of that.
No
Specific
apology.
to
That's why you're
Celestine,
here.
though. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just saying, don't apologize. That's why you're here. Tell us,
okay,
tell
great,
us,
great,
say.
great, great. Specific to Celestine's way of teaching, so I've been with Celestine for a good amount of time. So what I've been able to pick up in her teaching method is she's been more of like a guide to help you find your own tools. There are other coaches out there who kind of say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. All right, do this, do this, do this. But what I've noticed working with Celestine is that she will kind of encourage you to kind of create your own tools or to listen to your own instinct. That comes from the how do you feel? What do you think is going on inside of you, and kind of giving you ownership on your own like emotionality, your own feelings, and being able to lead with that and trust in that more and more and more. And that's something that even now that still I can take with me as an actor, because now I can go literally in the middle of a scene on set with a scene partner and go, wait, oh, my shoulders tense. That's what happened. Oh, my hand's in front of my face. Oh yeah, Celestine said that once. Okay. So it's something that I've been able to kind of always take because Celestine has always been a guide and not a person who kind of drags you to the finish line. So you'll be able to understand the process and be able to use the tools outside of the program, which is super, super important. Most places that you tend to go to or talk to, outside of the studio try to do like a dependency where you always kind of have to go back. Like you have to go back to understand it. But what you get from the intensive, especially the intensive, the first 18 days, is starting to have a better understanding of yourself to know which path to take for yourself. And where that leads you, that might be more classes. That might mean, you step into where that might mean you're ready, but you'll know. So that's something I wanted to attest to, and that was really thanks to how, which is very, very important, how Celestine taught us or worked with us, collaborated with us.
Thank you, Kakra. Thank you for sharing that. It's super insightful. I'm really grateful for that. Great. I have one more question, and I just want to say for anyone who's wondering, the fall intensive, since that is where Quentin is coming from, is the same as the summer intensive, but summer intensive has a lot more classes. So that's kind of the only difference, but it's the exact same 18 classes. And so, my last question is spotlighting. Eli, can you tell me about what you took away from the intensive, and what would you say to someone who is considering this program but maybe they're on the fence? That's my last question before we go into some work.
First, it's such a treat to be on this call and hear everybody speak on other teachers at the studio. It's so amazing that that everybody just has something positive to say about every single teacher that they've had. I think it's just something so special to the studio, and so
Let
note
me say
that.
something about that. Eli, I
But
totally agree with you, and I want to say something that's a little bit special and unique about the studio is Terry is very what's the word? Not picky, selective.
Particular,
Yeah,
particular.
particular and selective about who teaches here, especially acting. We only have 3 teachers who teach the 2-year program, and there's only 5 teachers who can teach, actually 4, because Terry's included, 4 other teachers that could teach the intensive. So it is, and we get people all the time interested in teaching here, and Terry talks to all of them, but he has to do 2 years of working with them for them to teach here, and he's really particular because the quality of these teachers is so important to him, and I think that speaks to kind of what you're saying, Eli. I didn't want to cut you off, but I just wanted to add that. Thank you for saying that. Continue.
yeah, no worries. So your question was why the summer intensive was impactful?
Yeah, what did you take away? And I'd love for you to just tell us what you would say to someone who's considering the program, but maybe they're on the fence.
Sure. It's yeah, I'll start by saying the studio is also amazing because everybody is coming from different kind of backgrounds. I was a theater minor in college, but had kind of stepped away from it for 5 years, and so I felt very rusty coming into the studio. But I was working with people who were actively doing work in a performing arts aspect. And so I think it's just cool that everybody has a different story to bring, but you're all perceived on the same playing field. It's a very inviting environment in that way. Um, and so coming into it, I did not really know what I was signing up for. And it is funny just hearing what everybody has said. Like, it is truly amazing how the work reflects maybe your like out of studio responses and like exposes your armor that you have like protecting yourself and how you may not always like act and speak truthfully, but then in this space in the studio, like that is your gift, that is your freedom, that is your right. That's like what you're encouraged to do, is to like let all of those things go and just be as free and truthful as you can, and seeing how that like how beautiful and beneficial that it can be, and just like in expressing your authenticity has been very eye-opening for me, and like other people have said, I think it's just made me a better listener. I think it's made me more compassionate. It's made me more direct, which like pros and cons to that and in real life. But I'm very thankful for it. Megan played a huge role in that. I think she was, as somebody coming into this like not knowing exactly what I was like, having done acting but not being maybe immersed in something so structured that had like a guideline and a path of where it was directing you. I think she taught it in a way that was very welcoming and encouraging, and she was, yeah, encouraging me to like take chances, and the reassurance of like it's okay to not know maybe how something's going to turn out. And it was so enticing that it just made me want to come back and keep learning and growing in this space. And so I'm very thankful for that. And I think to somebody who is on the fence about joining, um, you're always going to wonder if you never try, right? I feel like that's what I keep asking myself coming up on this like 1 year of being in New York and being a part of this studio, like looking back on the debate of if I was going to do it or not, and how like regretful I would be had I not done it. I've made so many beautiful like friendships and connections that are absolutely going to be like lifetime, lifelong. And it's just to be in a space with shared like like-minded creatives and people who are all on the same journey of like wanting to get something more out of a passion and a hobby, and how it translates to them as individuals. I don't know. It's just a really beautiful space, like um, with people who are all on this like ambitious, artistic journey. And I'm very thankful to like be around those kinds of people.
Beautiful. Thank you, Eli. That was a beautiful answer, and I really appreciate it. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to move now into the more active part of this webinar. That went a little bit longer than I anticipated, so we're going to shorten the next two things a little bit, but it's all still happening. I'm going to pass it over to Celestine, who's going to lead Quentin and Kakra in the first exercise of the intensive, which is repetition. So Celestine, I'm going to spotlight you and you can take it away.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Copper and Quinton? Okay, great. So, Marina, is there any way to actually spotlight, I would say, Cochrane and Quinton as opposed to me because they're
Like
going to be working?
add them or adjust them?
You can add them. I can
Okay,
be
let's
in there,
add
I
them, and then when
guess.
they start the work, I'll take you off.
Yeah,
Yay.
that sounds good.
Okay,
Okay.
wonderful.
Also, Cochrane and Quinton, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it. It's nice to know that you've learned something or it's a few things. Okay, so we're gonna just go through the repetition exercise and we're gonna start from the very, very beginning. So I want you to put your attention on each other.
Okay.
Put your attention on each
One
other.
sec. Okay. Do you see me? And is it better? Do you see me looking at
Right
you?
there is good and
Perfect.
don't move it. Okay, so I want you to start by putting your attention on each other, just breathing, being inside your bodies, and decide between the two of you who wants to lead. Kakra, Quinton? Quinton? Great. So, Quinton, I want you to put your attention on Kakra, and I want you to start with something that you see concretely in her. And Kakra, if you hear him, you can repeat exactly what he says? Yeah? Okay. So I just want you to start, and I'll let you go a few rounds, and then I might come in and stop you for a moment.
You're wearing earrings.
I'm wearing earrings.
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 Okay, great, great. So let's hold for a second. So it's true that Kakra is wearing earrings. That's a fact, right? That's a fact. That's something true. I asked you, did exactly what I said. I said, can you respond to something that you see concretely in Kakra? It is a fact that Kakra has on earrings. Now, I wonder if you have a point of view or a feeling about her earrings. And if you do, you can share it with her.
I think your earrings are really cute.
You think my earrings are really cute?
I think your earrings are really cute.
You think my earrings are really cute?
I think your earrings are really cute.
You think my earrings are really cute?
You seem flattered by that.
I seem flattered by that.
You seem flattered by that.
I seem flattered by that.
You seem flattered by that.
What's the truth, Kakra?
That made me happy.
That made you happy.
That made me happy.
Oh, that made you happy.
Oh, that made me happy.
I'm glad you're happy.
You're glad I'm happy?
I'm glad you're happy.
You're glad I'm happy.
I'm glad you're happy.
You're glad I'm happy.
I'm glad you're happy.
You don't look happy now.
I don't look happy now.
You don't look happy now.
I don't look happy now.
You don't look happy now.
I still feel pretty happy.
You still feel pretty happy?
I still feel pretty happy.
You still feel pretty happy.
I still feel pretty happy.
Okay,
Now I'm
okay.
embarrassed.
Now you're embarrassed. I stopped you at the embarrassed part. That was getting juicy.
Juicy.
Okay, there's a lot of good here, you two, in terms of really responding to the behavior, right? You know, there's something about what Quentin said to you, Cocker, that made you happy. So about your earrings, he noticed your earrings, right? That made you happy. And then you started to notice he didn't seem to be so happy anymore. And you were able to respond to that, picking up on his behavior, right? That his behavior changed, but he said he still was a little happy, right? And I kind of cut you off at the end there. You got a little embarrassed because you were reading him wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I want you to do a little more. Kakra, this time you're going to lead and see if you can share a point of view. Start with a point of view, something that you have an opinion about in Quentin that might be a little bit of an emotional risk to share. Take your time.
Okay. Your hair is a little messy.
My hair's a little messy.
Your hair is a little messy.
My hair's a little messy.
Your hair is a little messy.
My hair's a little messy.
Just rolled your eyes at me.
I just rolled my eyes at
You
you.
just rolled your eyes at me.
I just rolled my eyes at you?
You just rolled your eyes at me.
You're making me a little angry.
I'm making you a little angry.
You're making me a little angry.
Making you a little angry.
I don't like this smirk you have on
You
your
don't
face.
like this smirk I have?
I don't like the smirk that you have on your face.
This is making me laugh so much more.
This is making you laugh so much more.
This is making me laugh so much more.
This is making you laugh so much more.
It's making me laugh so much more.
That hurts my feelings.
Oh, it hurts your feelings.
All that hurts my that hurts my feelings.
Oh, that hurts your feelings.
All that hurts my feelings.
Oh, that hurts your feelings.
I don't think you care.
You don't think I care?
I don't think you care.
You don't think I care?
I don't think you care.
You don't think I care?
I don't think you care.
You're making me mad now.
I'm making you mad now.
You're making me mad now.
I'm making you mad now.
You're making me mad now.
I'm making you mad now.
You're making me mad now.
I'm making you mad now.
You're making me mad now.
I feel mad too.
You feel mad too?
I feel mad too.
You feel mad too?
I feel mad too.
You feel mad too.
I feel mad too.
Does she
You feel
care?
mad too.
Does she
No,
care?
you don't care.
No, I don't care.
No, you don't care.
No, I don't care.
No, you don't care.
No, I don't
You
care.
have an opinion about that, Quentin? She doesn't care
Yeah,
that you're
I
mad.
don't like you right now.
You don't like me right now?
I don't like you right now.
You don't like me that right now?
I don't like you right now.
That is harsh.
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 It feels like an appropriate judgment to me.
It feels like an appropriate judgment to you.
It feels like an appropriate judgment to me.
It feels like an appropriate judgment to you.
It
Copper,
feels like an
you hurt his
appropriate judgment to me.
feelings. You did
I
hurt his
hurt-
feelings.
I did hurt your feelings.
You did hurt my feelings.
I did hurt your feelings.
This is dumb that you're getting coy now.
This is dumb that I'm getting called right now.
Okay. I could watch this all day, you two. Okay. A lot of truth here, a lot of good here, yeah. So really seeing that, it's funny to you, but how does it feel for him? Right? Being able to own both things. That it's kind of funny to me, but also I see that it hurt your feelings. Did you mean to hurt his feelings?
No.
Right. You didn't mean to hurt his feelings. Yeah. So being related to that, being related to, oh, I thought it was funny, but I can see it hurt your feelings, right? And seeing in the behavior that the more you talk about it being funny, the more Quentin's face he's having these big moments, right, in the behavior, right? We can see it because body language tells a story just as much as words do, right? If I say to you, I love you, that has a very clear message. If I say to you, I love you, that has a clear message as well, right? Telling stories. We tell stories with our bodies. So thank you both for doing that. I know we're kind of pressed for time, Marina, but that was fun watching you two revisit that very beginning exercise.
And thank you, Celestine, because I felt myself feeling bad, but I wasn't saying it. So I was
Saying it,
thankful for
yeah.
you for like spotlighting it and kind of bringing it out.
Yes, I saw it in your behavior.
Would anyone else like to share any observations they made, anything they noticed before we jump into maybe someone else giving it a go? You can just raise your hand, your Zoom hand or your physical hand. Yeah, Mike Edward.
Um, I noticed that you guys did a really good job of staying in the moment, but also like repeating every word or like trying. I know like the audio might it's not the same as like being in person when doing repetition, but it's like because what I'm familiar with repetition is just like the you I statements and um like but you guys were like saying you're making me angry like right now. I'm not sure how exactly you said it or like you're called out like you're still doing something, which is something I noticed. And you guys were like actually repeating it, and I could see like the what's the I don't want to but Quentin, that's your name? Okay, I didn't want to butcher it, sorry, but I can see your energy changing throughout it. I can see you getting fired up, so it was awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, even though he was repeating the same exact words, right, that it was still landing in him differently every time. I love that you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, point of view is definitely changing.
I love it. All right. I don't even know how to do this. This is the first time we're doing people giving it a shot over Zoom, but I guess like if you want to give it a try, raise your hand, and the first two hands I see, I'll pair y'all up. And just be brave. Physical, I could see your physical hand if your camera's on. If you don't want to, no pressure. But Celestine is here and she will support you and guide you. Great. Lois, is that your name? Awesome. We got one. I'm going to spotlight you. And then Michael. Michael, I still don't know how to say your last name, Michael. Can you remind me?
Hello.
Gilo. Michael Gilo and Lois B. Hi. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna add Celestine so you're not all alone in that spotlight land. Celestine, take it away and thank you both for being brave.
Yes, I love it. I love the bravery. Let's play. Okay, so similar to how I instructed Cocker and Quentin, I want you to start with something that's more concrete, right? So I would call this more of a factual statement, something that you can concretely see in the other person. So who wants to lead between the two of you? No pressure. Okay, so both of you start with putting your attention on the other person as much as you can in this Zoom space by putting your attention on each other. And then, Michael, when there's something concrete that you see in Lois, I want you to lead with that. And Lois, if you hear it, you can repeat it, correct? Okay.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
Wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
I'm wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
You're wearing a brown shirt.
Okay, okay, let's talk. Let's talk. There's a lot of good here. It's interesting. Michael, are you wearing a brown shirt? Would you consider that brown?
I would consider it tan, but
So there's an opportunity here, right? She says, you're wearing a brown shirt. So one of the things that we talk about, and I didn't introduce this with Kakra and Quentin, which is fine, you wouldn't know. But one of the things that we want to encourage is truthful statements, right? So I saw you kind of taking it in like, maybe it's brown, but a part of you was kind of thinking, it's more like tan. Yeah. So you are totally welcome to say that. I think it's tan, for example, but you're working off of each other really well, right? And for you, Lois, you noticed, oh, you're also wearing a brown shirt, right? It's a different shade of brown, perhaps, right? But that from your point of view, that he's wearing brown also. Yeah? Okay. Now let's try it with Lois, you leading. And this time, see what happens if you start with a point of view. A point of view about Michael, something that you have an opinion about based off of what you see, yeah, concretely in him, an opinion. So lead with him as opposed to your brain. See what happens if you put your attention directly on him and let it come off of him. And then Michael, you can repeat it and then feel free to respond, I should say, from your point of view.
You look a little like Luigi.
I look a little like Luigi.
You look a little like Luigi.
I do look like Luigi.
You do look like Luigi.
I do look like Luigi.
You do look like Luigi.
I love
Repeat.
that you said that.
You love that I said that?
I do love that you said that.
I was nervous to say that.
You're nervous to say that?
I was nervous to say that.
I don't think you should be nervous to say that.
You don't think I should be nervous to say that?
No, I don't think you should be nervous to say that.
No, you don't think I should be nervous to say that.
No, I don't think you should be nervous to say that.
Okay, okay. I'm only stopping for time. That was great. That was great. That was such a great first moment. Great first moment in terms of point of view, and it made Michael laugh. Do you get that often, Michael?
I do.
In some ways, it's probably, it's kind of a compliment. People have high opinions of how Luigi looks. So it's in some ways a compliment. In other ways, who knows? Yeah. But it's
Sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was
No,
just
go
gonna say,
ahead,
I wish you
Marie.
could have seen all of our faces.
It was great.
I saw everybody's head like bow in laughter, and I was like, okay.
But Lois was being truthful. That was what she saw, and she pointed out, and that was a really great first go at it. I think that's the best. That's the best first time trying repetition I've ever seen. Just like both of you seemed really present and focused on one another, and you were listening to each other, and that's the most important. I mean, that's what I would say. I don't know, Celestine, you're the expert.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
Absolutely. And go ahead, Lois, you talk.
oh,
Go
it
ahead.
helped to be like on the spotlight Zoom. I was gonna say, I'm glad I didn't see all of your reactions because I wonder if that would have taken me out from.
Perhaps, yeah. Your attention was really on Michael. And we say this, in the class, the idea of being in a safe space that allows you to be brave, that allows you to take that kind of risk, to say the thing that is truthful, that sometimes in life you probably wouldn't say, at least not on first meeting someone anyway. But in in the safety of an acting space to go, this is where I can be truthful. And we say the worst thing that's going to happen in an acting space is that you're going to have an experience. What kind of experience? An embarrassing experience, a fun experience, a humiliating experience, a heartbreaking experience, a hilarious experience. Feel all of the emotions are possible, but we always want to relate to our partner from this place of like, I want the experience. It doesn't matter what it is, because as an actor, I want all of the experiences. So, Lois, you gave Michael an experience. So, it's a good day for acting.
Yes, I love it. I love that, Celestine. Thank you. I'd love to open it up if anyone else noticed anything they want to share, and then also we're gonna take the next like 5 to 7 minutes to ask any questions we have for anyone in this space. That could be me, that could be Celestine, that could be one of our students. The floor is yours, guests, to share and to ask. Don't all jump at once. And if you don't have questions, that's okay too. I can keep talking, but I want to give you guys a minute. So I'm gonna what is it? What do you say about the silence or something that they say in acting class about like being comfortable in the silence?
Oh, I see Michael has his hand up.
Oh, great. Michael, go ahead.
This might be different. It's kind of a question about the movement offering
Sure.
in the especially for Celestine, because I used to be a professional dancer, so I have like a movement background. But I was kind of curious how the movement work ties in with the acting technique. I was reading about the Williamson technique and how it was built with the actual Meisner progression. Um, and I just wanted to like hear more about like what that's like, for the intensive, but also selfishly for the conservatory 2-year program.
That's not selfish. We're all here to learn more about the studio. We love it. We love it. There's some people here who are more interested in the 2 year, but this is just an opportunity to learn. Celestine, do you want to speak to that? I can also see if any students took movement too who can speak to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can speak to that, and then if one of the students wants to speak to it. But from a dance background, I do have such a relationship to my body and an ability to express myself through my body because of dance. But I think that the movement work allows a different kind of relationship to emerge, one that is based in more freedom, one that is based in more possibility. One of the things that I realized as coming from my dance training is that my body was used to trying to be in a perfectionistic state, right? Trying to present in a certain way as opposed to trying to lean into something to transform, to allow it to express itself in ways that don't aren't pretty and perfect and aligned, that are more free and that are also really connected to my emotional center. So though I do think that I came in with kind of a body awareness that I'm really grateful for from my dance training, I also needed to kind of detach from the way that I had been habitually utilizing or relating to my body, I should say, to allow for more freedom of expression. So that's why I think the movement work is really, really, really useful. Though you might feel like you have a connection, there's still some more possibility that's there.
That's a great answer. Thank you, Celestine. I want to take more questions, but if any students who did the movement work want to quickly speak on that as well, please feel free. Cocker, go for it. I know you just did.
Yeah. I don't have an intense like extensive background in dance like Celestine, but I do like have a familiarity with like trying to correct myself, or my body's constantly in correcting itself and not allowing itself to just be messy, so to speak. And I can only imagine through a dancer's background, you'll probably have to always kind of get into second position, third position, or whichever. And that is something that, yeah, if you're in pain, you'll probably want to correct that mid-performance, where let's say movement work will allow you to kind of move into the space and like embrace what you're feeling. I mean, one thing I did learn in my movement class is how your body holds on to memory and how we try to retain it and not let it show. And what movement allows you to do is allow you to feel through everything, not through just one part of your body, but your entire body, and allow your body to speak with it as well. And that's, I think, one component that I can speak to on movement.
Thank you, Cocker. That was beautiful. Any other questions? Things that people are wondering and want to speak to a student or faculty or me about? We are here. Yeah, Mike.
Um, I can't remember who said it, but I know you said like the summer intensive is like the first 18 classes for of like the 2 year conservatory. Um, I don't know if this is a better question to ask like Clinton or Akra, but how would you say like how in the word intensive, how intense does it get in a sense?
Yeah, I think Eli or Quentin, who did the intensive, can speak to that. How intense does it get in the intensive? When you say intense, can you define that a little bit? Because I think intense means different things for different people. Like, do you mean intense emotionally, intense with your time, intense with your energy?
Um, when I hear intensive, I'm thinking it's kind of maybe overwhelming is probably like the feeling where it's like you might feel like this is not what you were expecting, but it's not something that you can't accomplish or like get through, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Where it's like it might like catch you off guard, but it's hard work. Like you're gonna be working hard, obviously. Probably harder than you thought.
Yeah. Eli or Quentin, do either of you want to speak to the intensity you experienced in the intensive, like how intense it was for you?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think for me, in terms of the intensive, it really, I think maybe like the the like intensity of it was for me a lot of it was having it's like such a transformative process, I think, just in those 18 classes. Like you really get so much out of it, or at least that's how I experienced it. That that was sort of the like how I feel about the intensive aspect of it. And I think that it's amazing how much work can be done in those 18 classes and how much more I was able to kind of, yeah, just be in tune with my surroundings and as an actor in a scene. Like when you get to the scene at the end of the intensive, which is the first scene in the program, there's such a it's such a fascinating experience after you've done all of the repetition work building up to that, that there is a way that once you get someone else's words, once you're speaking someone else's words, you can still respond in that same way from moment to moment, which is so powerful. And I think that in terms of the work and the time, I do feel like it is something that you get as much out of it as you put into it, and it requires dedication and definitely commitment. But all of that is worth it. And I think that it it doesn't feel I didn't feel overwhelmed because I think, and this is a testament to Celestine creating this environment, but it really does feel like she's there to guide you through the process. And it's like I think this is what you've said in the past, Celestine, that like it's an individual journey in a group setting, and that you really are exploring yourself, particularly in the intensive. Um, and and yeah, it's hard work, but also so fulfilling and not overwhelming, I think, because you do have someone guiding you through that individual experience, which yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I want to respond to that, Quentin, really quickly, because I want to just say, Quentin, you were also a really great student and you were so dedicated. And so I think that point that you made about you get out of it what you put into it is really, really important. And it's something that Terry talks about all the time. There are a lot of actors. There are a lot of actors. And really, what distinguishes the actors who are going to do work in this industry and who are going to make things are the ones who are going to be dedicated, because there are a lot of talented people, and I'm sure everybody on this call is talented, right? So I never question anyone's talent when they come into the room. I think everyone who comes into the room has the capacity to do the work. It's, are you willing to do it? Are you going to put in the time? Because this work requires such commitment, such time, such a willingness to step up and dive in. And so I don't think the work is overwhelming. Do I think it's hard work? Yes. But I think if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. And so what we're doing here is we're training actors to be able to compete, to be able to walk into a room and be going up against actors who are auditioning for or who are coming out of Yale and Juilliard and NYU. And so that requires a rigor and it requires a level of commitment. So I say to anyone who's thinking about it, I think you should do it. And also, I think you will surprise yourself when you come out of it in knowing what you're capable of doing. You have to kind of stretch yourself and be willing to do something that is hard, but that will help you ultimately grow.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Celestine, and thank you, Quentin. And I want to say, like, there are people who this will be overwhelming for, and those are people, I'm going to just be super transparent with you guys because I think it's important if you're interested in this program. Those are people who are not open to growing and open and willing to fail, because you're going to fall, you're going to fail, you're going to get it wrong more than you get it right, and that's what this is about. This is a safe and brave space to get it wrong, because your teacher, like Celestine, whoever your teacher is, they will guide you into the direction so that you do get it right eventually. But the people who are perfectionists, I can't remember what Terry says about perfection, I think it's like perfectionism is a death of art or something. It really doesn't allow you, it doesn't give you room to be wrong and to grow. So if you're someone who's like, I always have to be right, I can't take feedback, if someone tells me I did a bad job, I'm gonna, blow up, I'm gonna explode, you will be overwhelmed. But if you're ready to put your energy, your heart into this work and really invest in your talent, and you're open and willing, I think you will not be overwhelmed. And if any overwhelm is experienced, it's like the overwhelm that comes with transforming. That sounds dramatic, but like this, I think, is true and speaks to what Quentin said.
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
I piggyback off of that
Yeah.
quickly? The willingness to transform and also recognizing that it's literally 6 weeks of your life.
Totally.
So though it might be intense, I think something that you said, Eli, though it is that regret factor, right, is serious. Before I signed up for the 2-year program, I remember saying, oh, 2 years, it's too much time. That's too much time. And then 2 years had passed. And I hadn't been any further than I was when I was saying 2 years is too much time. So it's 6 weeks of your life of focus and discipline and commitment. To me, I go, that's possible for any of us. It might not be easy, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah. And I think there's 2 people on this call who are considering the 2-year instead of the intensive, and I'd say it's the same, same thing. Like, it's 2 years of your life, that it feels that's longer than 6 weeks. But where would you be, like Celestine said, if 2 years from now if you don't do it? Beautiful. Cocker, I'm going to take your question, but I know it's 2:30 and some people may
Yeah.
have to go, so I just want to say one more thing, and then I can stay until 2:40, so we can chat for a few more minutes. But if anyone has to go right now, I want to say that because you all came, the early bird ends tomorrow. We will be extending it for all of you till the end of the week, so you have time to meet with me, chat with me, and this is only for you guys, so sorry if you're watching this recording, you don't get this, you didn't come to the live one, but you guys get an extra $50 off. That's just like a gift to you. So we're giving you $50 to say, thank you for doing this. You took your time out of your day to come here and invested in us, so we want to invest back in you. So if anyone needs to go right now, please feel free. Otherwise, I will stick around for the next 10 minutes. I want to hear the beautiful things that I'm sure Cocker's going to say, and we could take a few more questions. But if anyone needs to leave, thank you for being here.
Yeah. I have to hop up too, so it's fine. Oh, bye. But I have to hop up too, but quickly just want to say imposter syndrome's real, no matter how you feel about taking the intensive or the 2-year or not. And I will say the intensive or the 2-year program, whichever you decide, is one of the most essential tools in helping you deal with that. That's something that even if you don't come here, that's something that will stay with you, should you continue to pursue the craft. And honestly, this is a intensive 2-year, all of it. Anything in this program has been a way to remind myself of the craft and like where everything essentially goes. So that's it.
I love it. Thank you, Cockra. That's beautiful. Wow. So many wonderful words. That is all. If anyone has other questions for me, I will stick around. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate your time. And I'm just going to hang out for the next few minutes if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns. Hopefully, no.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Cockra. Thank you, Celestine. Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you
Thank
all.
you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you,
It was a
Mike.
lot.
I'm so glad you were able to come in.
Yeah, I'll see you guys this summer, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for coming in, Matt. Oh, he's gone. All right, and then it's just me. Bye, me.